questions 11 through 20 on the 2011 grade 9 Pascal Math Contest. Which of the following numbers is closest to 1? Let's convert all of these numbers to decimals. This is 1.1. This is 1.11. This is obviously already in decimal format. This is 1.111, and this is already in decimal format. So, which one of these is closest to 1? It's the smallest number, and that will be closest to 1, right? So of these, the smallest number is obviously this one right here. So that would be closest to 1. So 11, the answer is E. The number of odd integers between 17 over 4 and 35 over 2 is? Well, 17 over 4 in terms of a decimal is 4.25. And 35 over 2 in decimal format is 17.5. So first of all, what are the integers? Just the integers. Don't worry about odd right now. It's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. So now let's circle only the odd ones because those are the ones we want. 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17. So how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. So number 12, the answer is D. The first 4 terms of a sequence are 1, 4, 2, and 3. Beginning with the 5th term in the sequence, each term is the sum of the previous 4 terms. Therefore, the 5th term is 10. What is the 8th term? First term is 1, second term is 4, then 2, and then 3. And I just want to mention something that if you, and I'm being serious, if you have a small child, say 6, 7 years of age, and they are learning to count and add, they will be able to, should be able to do this question. And the reason I make that point is because oftentimes when you read a question, if you give this to a small child, it will appear like very difficult. Oh, there's no way I know how to do this. But if you just explain it to them, it's just simple addition. So they've already given you the first scenario, which is the 5th term. They tell you that's 10. And that is because it's the sum of the previous 4. So we just have to continue that. So now to get this 6th term, it's the sum of the previous 4, which was 19. And then to get this term, which is the 7th, the sum of the previous 4, which is 29 plus 5, and that is 34. And then finally, to get the 8th term, which is the term they want, it's the sum of the previous 4. And when you add up those numbers, you get 66. So number 13, the answer is A. In the diagram, a garden is enclosed by 6 straight fences. If the area of the garden is 97 meters squared, what is the length of the fence around the garden? All right, well, notice these symbols. That means those two are the same. So I'll just call them X and X. And this whole thing is X. So therefore the distance from there to there must be X. And what I'll do is I'll sort of extend this. And that allows me to label it a little bit better. So this whole distance is X. So if that is 8, then this little distance there must be X minus 8. And then this little distance is 2, and therefore that is 2 also, right there. So if that's 2, then this whole thing from there to there is X plus 2. So let's use this labeling system to figure out what is X, and then we can figure out the perimeter. So the area is the full area minus this little box that obviously I have to cut out. So the full is X times X plus 2. And then I have to subtract that little tiny box, and that's going to be X minus 8 times 2. And that area is 97. They've given you that in the question. So let's expand this. You get X squared plus 2X minus 2X plus 16. And therefore we have just X squared plus 16 is 97. And then if you were to put the 16 over the other side, you get 81 as x squared, and then x is 9. So it works out very nicely. Now we can figure out the perimeter. The perimeter, well, let's see here. First we got this side, and that's an 8. And then we have this side, so we have x plus 2. And then we have this x up here, and then another x there. So that's 2x. And then we have this distance, which is x minus 8. And then finally we have this distance, which is just 2. So that's the perimeter. So if you add it all up, it looks like, well, that cancels with that, and this becomes 4, and then that x's are 4x. 4x plus 4. X is 9, so that's going to be 4 times 9 plus 4, and that's 36 plus 4, which is 40. So the perimeter is 40, and therefore number 14, the answer is C. 6 friends ate at a restaurant and agreed to share the bill equally. Because Lakshmi forgot her money, each of her 5 friends paid an extra $3 to cover her portion of the total bill. What was the total bill? Well, we got 6 friends, and each of them would pay equal. So if the bill is represented by B, each of them would pay B divided by 6. Now, Lakshmi is here, and she doesn't have her money, so she doesn't pay. So what everybody else does is they add an extra $3 to their amount. And that is equivalent to the bill. So that's our mathematical equation. We've got these b over 6's, and we got 5 of them. So 5 times b over 6, and then 5 times 3, because each of them puts $3 each. And that is equal to b, which is the bill, the cost of the bill. So we do this math, and we get 5b over 6 plus 15 is equal to b. And therefore 15 is equal to 5b. Subtract 5 over 6 will be just 1/6, so just b over 6. And therefore b is 15 times 6, which is 90. So the total bill was for $90. And therefore number 15, the answer is A. The set 1, 2, 3 until 4950 contains the first 50 positive integers. After multiples of 2 and multiples of 3 are removed, how many integers remain in the set S? Well, there's a short way and a long way. I'll do both, and then you decide which way you'd like to do it on a math contest. So the long way is to write them all out, so I'll do that. And from this list, we are removing multiples of 2 and multiples of 3. So let's first remove multiples of 2, and that is, of course, just all the even numbers. So I'll circle those, indicating that those are to be removed. And then, once those are all gone, we are going to remove multiples of 3. So let's just use a different color for multiples of 3. Now, multiples of 3, some of these have already been circled. You might notice that, because some numbers are both multiples of 2 and multiples of 3. So these are multiples of 3 that I'm circling that I haven't circled yet. So 30, 33, 36, 39, 42, 45, and 48. Okay. So any number that has not been circled, those are the numbers that remain. And let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 17. That's the answer. But the short way of doing it is as follows. You had 50 numbers in the beginning. You remove multiples of 2. How do you get multiples of 2? Well, 50 divided by 2. And you get the integer value for that, and that's what the symbol means that I just drew. Then you subtract all the multiples of 3. How do you get multiples of 3? 50 divided by 3, and the integer value. But we have to add back numbers that are multiples of both 2 and 3, and those are numbers that are multiples of 6. And this is how you do that. So 50 divided by 2 actually works out perfectly as an integer. 50 divided by 3 is not an integer, but the lowest integer below it is 16. And then 50 divided by 6, the integer below it is 8. So 50 minus 25 minus 16 plus 8 is 17. So as you can see, both ways give you the same answer. It's up to you. Obviously, this is the shorter way of doing it. And therefore, number 16, either way, is 17, and that is choice D. In the subtraction question shown, K, L, M, N are digits. What is the value of K plus L plus M plus N? All right, so let's work at this one at a time. L minus 4 is equal to 1. So that means L must be 5. The next one, 0 minus N is 1. Well, that actually means that N is equal to negative 1. But N can't be negative 1, right? Because N is a digit. But you guys obviously know that it doesn't have to be a 0, right? We could have carried the 1. So it actually was a scenario of 10 minus N is equal to 0. Or sorry, equal to 1, right? 10 minus N is equal to 1. So that means that N is 9. Okay, so far we're doing great. So I'm going to write them out. 6K, 0, and L, which is 5. And then subtract M, 9, N, which is 9, 4. And that is 2, 0, 1, 1. And at this point, it's pretty straightforward, I hope. So this column, we can concentrate on that. K minus 9 is equal to 0. But here's the thing. We had carried the 1, remember? So it's actually not going to be a K that's left. It's going to be a K minus 1 that's left. Correct? So we don't actually have K minus 9. We have K minus 1 minus 9. So that means K minus 1 is 9. So this number in here, I can just put a 9. But the thing is, if I did that, I'm actually putting K minus 1. And we don't want to put K minus 1 there. We want to put K. So if K minus 1 is 9, then K must be 10. But K cannot be 10, right? Because K is a single digit. So K obviously must have been a 0. So that means that this number was a 0. And there you go. And if that's a 0, then obviously M must be a 3. So it's just a little bit of fiddling around. And you can see that the numbers are 6005 and 3994. And if you do that subtraction, you indeed get 2001. So now we are responsible for the addition of K, L, M, N. Well, this is K, L, M, and N. So K, L, M, N is going to be 0 plus 5 plus 3 plus 9. And that is 8 plus 9, which is 17. So number 17, the answer is 17, and that is choice A. On the number line, points M and N divide LP into 3 equal parts. What is the value of M? Well, first thing to do is figure out the distance from L to P. So it will be 1 over 6 minus 1 over 12. And that, if you get a common denominator, is 1 over 12. So that's the distance from there to there. Now, each of these is a third of that. So let's figure that out. So it would be 1/3 times 1 over 12. And that is 1 over 36. So each of these small distances is 1 over 36. So in order to figure out M, it would be M minus a 12th is equal to 1 over 36, right? This subtract L is equal to 1 over 36. So M would therefore be 1 over 36 plus 1 over 12, multiply top and bottom by 3, and you get 1 plus 3 over 36, and that is 4 over 36. And in lowest terms, that would be 1 over 9. So number 18, the answer is 1/9, and that is choice C. Two circles are centered at the origin as shown. The point 8, 6 is on the larger circle, and the point 0K is on the smaller circle. QR is 3. What is the value of K? Well, the first thing we can do is concentrate on this P. I'm going to drop a perpendicular like that. And 8 represents the distance from there to there, and 6 represents the distance from there to there. So this is 8, and this is 6 right there. So I can easily figure out this distance using Pythagoras. And that will be basically the big radius, so big R. I'll just write radius. And it will be 6 squared plus 8 squared, radius squared. So that's 36 plus 64, which is 100. And therefore the radius is 10. So in this diagram, from here to here is 10. But so is from here to here, because that's also the radius. And they tell me that QR is 3. So from there to there is 3. So from here to here is 10, and then from there to there is 3. So therefore, this distance, which is the radius of the small circle, must be 10 minus 3. So I'll write that in words. The big radius is 10, and then QR is 3. Now the small radius, I can write, I guess, in small letters. Small radius is equal to the big radius minus QR. So that's going to be 10 minus 3, which is 7. And that's what K represents, right? K is 0, K, this point is right here. And that K represents the radius of the small circle. So that means this is K. So number 19, the answer is E. In the diagram, PR, PS, QS, QT, and RT are straight line segments. QT intersects PR and PS at UV, respectively. PU is equal to PV. UPV is 24. PSQ is X. QS is Y. What is the value of X plus Y? PU is equal to PV. So this is equal to that. So that means this angle must be the same as that angle. So that means that X plus 24 is equal to 180. So 2x is equal to 180 minus 24, and that means 2x is equal to 156, and therefore x is equal to 78. So instead of putting these x's, I can put in 78, if I can squeeze them in. So 78 here, and 78 there. Now, this angle I can figure out because all the angles about a line are equal to 180. So if this angle, let's say, is y, 78 plus y is equal to 180. So that means y is equal to 180 minus 78, and that is 102. So instead of that y, I can put in 102. So 102. Now, let's concentrate on this triangle QSV. The sum of the angles of that triangle, as always, are 180. So that means x plus y plus 102 is equal to 180. And therefore, x plus y will be 180 minus 102, which is 78. And interestingly, they don't really want you to figure out the individual values for x and y, just the sum. So the sum is 78. So that's it. Number 20. The answer is D.